All right, we're live. So I just wanted to provide some quick context into like what this video is. This is not a part of any known, at least I don't know of any known series that I'm in the middle of, where I'm interviewing other vendors in the market. But yeah, your team reached out and was excited about a new product that you guys are launching and asked if Cake slash Tune, I know I'm rocking the Cakeware right now, but if the affiliate marketing group of Cake and Tune could help spread the word of the new product, and I said yes right away. Because I love you guys. I love Optizmo. I love the partnership that we've had, and I love the opportunity to support you guys in whatever form or fashion. And so that's why we're talking today. Um, so yeah, that's how that's how we got.
I appreciate it, man. I mean, and right back at you. We've loved working with Cake and Tune for I don't even know how many years. I know you were one of the early integration partners for Optizmo. We go back to 2009, but it's got to be pretty soon after that that we started working together. And then you and I have known each other for maybe not quite that long, but well, I don't know, pretty darn long. I'm not actually
Yeah,
sure how far it would go back, but yeah, it ages both of us. So
yeah.
we can't be more than we've only known each other a couple of years, probably, right?
I, well, I can. If you go to my LinkedIn photo, I don't think any of these. I'm embracing it. I actually just trimmed the beard for this video just to
Oh,
give my,
nice.
a nice sharp. But well, you reached out because you have a new product, but I think it would be a good place to start from a conversation perspective of just like, what do you do now? Like, what's the history of Optizmo, and then we can kind of get into then like what's the next problem you guys saw to solve in the market.
Sure.
So start there. Like, what is Optizmo? What solutions do you provide to the market today?
Yeah, great question. And, we don't always, there's that tendency, when you do interviews and you get to chatting, sometimes you talk about the way back, but a lot of times you're always forward thinking about what's next. So it's kind of fun sometimes to go back to the foundation and talk about that too. But yeah, so I mean, Optizmo, like I said, been around since 2009 and really came to be because there was a need in the marketplace for software to assist brands who wanted to leverage email within their affiliate marketing channel for, to bring on net new customers. And you wanted to do that at scale, but you quickly determined that there are compliance issues that come along with that you as the brand, the advertiser, are often going to be held liable for the actions of affiliates that are marketing on your behalf. And so what you really need to do is to make sure in every way possible that affiliates are following your rules. One of the
Wow.
biggest rules when it comes to email is honoring opt-outs, providing people a way to say, please stop emailing me. And typically, to oversimplify just a bit, if say a large brand incorporates 100 affiliate marketers into their email program, and depending on how that offer is being promoted by each one, if I receive an offer from, let's say it's a dating offer, and I'm married, so I'm not interested anymore, I opt out when I receive that from emailer number one. The way the rules work in the United States, the Can-Spam Act says fairly specifically that if I've opted out email or email marketer number one, I'm also essentially opted out of receiving that same offer from the other 99 emailers that are working with Match and for Match itself to send me those sort of offers. So it becomes kind of a complex situation where, great, I've opted out of this mailer. They know that. That's wonderful. They'll let Match know. That's fairly straightforward. But how do you let the other 99 affiliates know that they can't email me either? So
Wow.
there was really only at the time that we came into being, there was one other software solution that sort of helped do this. And we took a different approach, capture technology, upgraded, tech stack, those kind of things to provide a more seamless and user-friendly experience than what was available at the time. And really over the span of this last, going on 18 years, which is crazy,
Yeah.
have become kind of the industry standard in this space. It's essentially table stakes that if you are a brand and you want to leverage email in your affiliate program, you absolutely have to be following these rules. And there's no real reason why you should be doing it internally. That asking for trouble. There were brands, especially back in the day, that would be doing it manually. They might have a suppression file of people who've opted out, maybe current customers, and they would email it to their affiliates. I can't even imagine the number of privacy laws that probably breaks today. at least
Oh,
20 plus in each state that has its own privacy law and counting. So that's not an option. So you really need some kind of a tech solution. And if you're a brand, you're not in the business necessarily of building technology solutions for email compliance. So
right.
we became really the go-to, and it's been it's been a really fun ride to experience that for me for the last almost 10 years with the company of really building, helping build this company to where it is today, and as you alluded to, where it's going to go tomorrow.
Yeah, and I guess not only do you the technology people pay for the technology for the
Mhm.
scalability and all the tools, but they're also kind of paying you guys to be aware of what all those shifting compliance rules are in the industry, right? Like if I'm a brand, I don't necessarily want to pay attention. I mean, I know I need to pay attention to some degree, but like I want to make sure that I'm working with a vendor who is explicitly paying attention to where the industry is going so that I'm always in compliance.
Exactly, and we've taken that kind of upon ourselves. We're not attorneys, and so we don't position ourselves that way, but we we are experts in our space, and we try to stay abreast of, again, not just rules related specifically to email, but again, data privacy, because it all bleeds over, and we're seeing that landscape in the United States and around the world, it just gets more complex every
Right.
year, and more laws that you have to comply with. And yeah, it's hard, for a company to, again, just like you don't want to necessarily be in the software business. Why would you build software for, to stay compliant? You work with someone else. Unless you have a large legal department, are you really going to, as a marketing company or, a consumer brand, small especially, are you going to be able to realistically stay on top of and be a true expert in all of these different laws in the areas where you have customers? And today you have customers around the world. I don't
Right.
know how feasible that is for really almost any company. Again, let alone a smaller one.
Right.
So I think that, we took it upon ourselves to at least, offload some of the knowledge there so that we can provide assistance and support and guidance to our clients in how to implement best practices in their programs, and then know when to refer them to speak to legal counsel if they really have deep dive questions that are really require legal expertise. But one of the things we think of ourselves in a lot of ways as an insurance policy. We've always said that it's this is, by using our current tool Suppress on the compliance side, you're really doing your best to show uh, a legal body, if they were ever to look into your email program, you show that you are taking all steps to stay compliant, follow best practices, do everything the right way, and stay out of stay out of the spotlight, but also two, if something does come your way, that it shows that it's not because you weren't doing everything within your power to ensure that your program is compliant.
Got it. And the product that you guys launched with Suppress, that's
Mhm.
taking from the idea that the list of email addresses that you're not allowed to send an email to, that's called the suppression list, right? And that's okay. Just to bring it home and put it on the nose.
A good
Oh, and I
name, right? It flows, I mean, it's nice to name things with, kind of exactly what they do. Makes it very easy to describe them once they get out there. And we continue to do that with new products.
yeah, well, I don't know if we can say the same. I don't know if it's on the nose about like what does cake do,
Mm.
although I had plenty looking cakes early on when we had our office and
Sure.
new, but I mean, when I started in 2010, which was a year after you guys launched, when I first like started to understand what affiliate marketing was, what Cake was, being an attribution and tracking platform for a lot of the same customers that you have, um, Optizmo was already integrated in. And the reason behind that, as I eventually learned, was that our customers, they work with some affiliates that do display traffic or search traffic, but they also work with some affiliates that are doing email traffic. And so they needed a way to be able to connect the dots between their suppression list governance software and partners in one centralized location. So that integration has been really pivotal for a lot of our clients for a very, very long time. So that's why you and I have gotten to know each other over the years and why our platforms continue to work so closely together. Um, okay, so that's the press. That's a little bit of the history. So you obviously, as a vendor in the affiliate marketing industry, as a technology provider, your job, and as is mine, is to observe what are other challenges out there. Like, what are other problems that you guys can solve? So what's on the horizon for you guys? Like, why launch the new product, and what's it called, and what problem does it solve?
Sure. Yeah. Obviously where we were initially was, very focused on the suppression side, the compliance side of the business. So our clients, again, the brands, the advertisers, occasionally the networks, depending on how you want to look at it, but that side, not the affiliate side. And yet we know from the standpoint of numbers, there are thousands upon thousands of affiliates, and
Yeah.
while there are thousands of brands, there aren't that many. It's the relationship is not as many brands to a lot more affiliates.
It's one to
And
many.
right, exactly, the one to many. So we always knew that we were focused on I guess, the smaller side of that, kind of ecosystem, and had thoughts that, maybe someday we would build a product that would provide some value to the mailer side. And it was just a matter of what would we build, and so it was always in the back of our minds. And really just over the last handful of years, we felt like probably a combination of, the timing's right, where we thought a product we might make would be a good fit for the current industry, where we had a development team that was ready to, take on that kind of new project and, deliver something new to the market that was, again, innovative, much like we did back in 2009. It was sort of
Yeah.
like let's go back to our roots and do something innovative and different. So as we were looking at that, and again, focusing on how would we perhaps bring something to this other side of the affiliate email channel, we really hit on the fact that the deployment side is the challenge, and has always been, but because of technology developments, legal developments, kind of you name it, deployment has done nothing but become more complex and difficult in year over year over year.
Could you quickly define, like, what is deployment for the, I don't know?
Yep. Essentially, it's just that's physical and technical action of sending the email out. And of course, this isn't just one email. This is sending thousands or millions, many emails out, mass email to consumers, to recipients, and all of the things that go into that. And I think, as someone who got an email a long time ago, I think I sent my first email before the year 2000, my first marketing email. It was so simple back then. One, there weren't many regulations, but also just technology was simple. You had a list, put it into, you gave it to your ESP, essentially, you hit send, you built some creative, you hit send, and it was usually text. You didn't have anything pretty to send because there weren't a lot of graphics. No one had, broadband at that point. Everyone was on dial-up, so you weren't accessing video in your email or anything that we have today. So it wasn't, and then you hit send and it went into the inbox. That was the other thing. It wasn't like you had a challenge. It was just sort of like, I send to a million people, and by and large, those million people are probably going to get it, minus a few whose email addresses just aren't there anymore. They stopped using them. But, these were kind of early days of email. People hadn't even gotten to the point of moving on from old email addresses to the extent that they do now. But over the years, that entire process has become so much more complicated. Email mail, the mailers of today have a million things on their minds and on their checklist that they have to do to ensure that their mail is sent effectively, that it gets delivered, that people want to click on it and engage with it and hopefully buy a product or fill out a lead form or whatever action is they want to take. There's so much. And, we think of these folks, they're email marketers, but a vast amount of what they do is not marketing. It's technology. It's just, figuring all these things out. It's working with, tracking platforms. They're all the partners they need to integrate with and understand and incorporate into their campaigns in order to be successful and, earn a living at it. So when we talk deployment, it's really that what we'll call the modern process of sending bulk email or marketing email, I guess would be a simple way to say it. And, that can still encompass a lot of things, but in a lot of ways it's, it's everything from your pre-planning to your, uploading your creative, segmenting your list, deciding what offers you're going to test and then to who and when, and how to and throttle based on time, local time zone, or is it just all going to go once? All the different things that you've got to be kind of thinking about.
Okay.
So again, it's become hard. I think I gave a presentation last year when we were talking about, email and helping folks get into it if they had data to monetize. And one of the things that the panelists, we all sort of came to the conclusion was like, wow, email, there's a reason not everybody does it. And it's because it's not easy.
Yeah.
It's a hard thing to do successfully. So when we looked at the way the industry had evolved and kind of where things were today, we thought, this is a place where we could build a deployment platform, which, surprise, we have called Deploy, and hopefully improve that process. I would say, we obviously, have some buzzwords and some terminology that we like to use, but I think by and large, what we're looking at doing is reducing the friction that mailers run into during this whole process of preparing to send and then actually hitting the send button, and orchestrating all of these different elements across different tech providers, different partners, things they're doing internally to get their arms around all of it, and then actually be able to send it out through their ESP and get it into individual inboxes at the end.
So is the alternative to Deploy either a manual process, or is it a stringing along of like multiple technologies that you're streamlining? Like, or is it both? I don't.
Bit of both. Yeah. I think if you talk to most mailers, there are other deployment platforms out there, some of which do a great job. But everybody, like you understand as a tracking platform, there are other tracking platforms.
Sure.
Everybody brings their own, I would say, secret sauce to a certain extent to it, but their own approach to it. And sometimes one approach will work better for some people, work better in their workflows, and sometimes another will. And so really the difference for us is that, we think our approach is going to appeal to a lot of mailers, some of whom may have built their own deployment platforms. We've definitely seen a lot of that where there was no product that did what they needed it to do. And so being a lot of these folks being very smart, technical people, they just went out and built something internally. Some of those are fantastic and, have every feature and capability they could want. And others probably aren't quite that sophisticated, but they get the job.
Right.
And then there again are other companies that have built, some very solid deployment platforms that meet those kind of needs. And some have been around for a few years, others are newer. But, when you look at just all of the different desperate pieces that need to be pulled together, I think there's been for a long time a need for some kind of software to corral all of this. And so really it was that build or go out and partner with somebody kind of approach that pretty much every mailer has to face at some point.
Got it. And so from a basics perspective, if I'm new to the world of deployment, obviously somebody who's in deployment will already know this. And so maybe they're already like, great, I now have awareness of the deployment, I'm going to go check it out. But for those that aren't, and just from like an educational perspective, what are the major pieces that an emailer will go through, like if they were to use Deploy? So I've heard there's like the planning portion of it of like when to send. So like, could you walk us through like if that'd be valuable for?
Absolutely. And I won't go into like immense detail because you know how it is with a tech platform.
Sure,
Like I could explain the demo and we'd be here for 2 hours.
Big picture.
But big picture, it's essentially some of the key steps. Obviously there is a database built into it. So we can store all of the mailers' contacts, all their mailing lists, for lack of a better term, which they can then segment, make selections on, I want to mail everyone who responded to a certain offer within the last 6 months. The many different ways you might decide to sift through all of that data to decide who should receive a specific campaign or offer right now. So we house all that data, make it easy and in fact as automated as humanly possible for them to essentially do the thing that marketers have always wanted to do, which is get the right offer in front of the right person at the right time. Right. It's really a way of doing that at scale. So that's a big piece of it. The other piece, obviously, you have creative. You've got to build the pretty emails that are going to go out. And when it's an affiliate program, you're also going to be connecting that with an offer from an outside advertiser. Whereas if it's just you sending to your house file, for example, maybe you're only just sending your own offers. You just like trying to repeat customers get them to, to buy again, those kind of things. Different when you're bringing in offers from outside. So we're also connected to those offers. They're sitting within Deploy so that you can select them easily, inject them into your email creative so that then they can be sent. But other pieces include, say, warm up when you've got, again, this gets a little more of the technical weeds, but, when you're sending email, you're sending from a sending domain and an IP. And these days, to get your mail accepted into the different inboxes, that all of the pieces, the technical pieces in that chain need to be seen by those inbox providers as being a safe, professional, legitimate sender of email, if you will. And I'm really simplifying that, but that technical. We tap into some other partners to allow you to set up all of those processes and prepare your domains and IPs for mailing, so that when you start reaching the inbox, your emails are actually going to get there. Because at the end of the day, if deliverability is not a focus for a mailer, I don't know how they survive anymore. That idea, you can have the best, most fantastic offer in the world and an amazing list and all the things, but if the email never reaches the inbox, nobody can actually respond to it, engage with it, and drive any revenue. So it's kind of table stakes to get into the inbox, but it's also one of the hardest things these days. So that's an area that we will continue to really focus on. Not that we are deliverability experts, but we will set everything up within Deploy to make it as seamless as possible for you to work with your other deliverability partners to integrate that into our tech and then build on what we do and streamline that entire process. That's, a big piece of this is we talk about orchestration. And I think one of the biggest challenges is, I mentioned the tech stack is, that group of technology partners that you need to work with in email now has just become so expansive that anything you can do to either, one, make it very simple to integrate with and work with those different partners, and then also reduce the number in some ways is great. One of the things that we take out of the mix is essentially compliance, because whereas previously, if you're using another deployment platform, you will be tapping into hopefully Optizmo for that compliance aspect for suppressing, anybody who is not able to receive your emails because they've either opted out previously, or maybe it's the brand's current customer and they want their mailers to focus on, entirely new customers. Lots of different ways that a brand might decide a consumer should be on a suppression file beyond just the unsubscribe. But that's always been an additional step that mailers need to take by integrating with our platform into their existing deployment technology, or downloading a file or cleansing within our system. With Deploy, we integrate all that. So it is essentially, it's all, I'm going to say behind the scenes, but it happens essentially automatically. So because we have the suppression files in-house for the offers that you're about to run, as you're setting up that deployment, the suppression is going to just happen without you actually doing anything to make it happen. It's just, you can't mail without it. So it takes one piece of friction, one, extra step out of the mailing process that you need to do, but that also is time consuming and, can lead to errors for any mailer. So that's a big plus in our minds for the mailers. And we also think the brands are going to be very excited about that too, because it means that mailers who are using Deploy to send their offers are essentially certain to be compliant, at least with, in terms of suppression.
No, that seems like a huge incentive. So I was going to ask, what is the value of somebody on both suppress and deploy? That seems like a no-brainer. It's like, if my emailers are using Deploy, I no longer have to be concerned about, are they downloading the right file? Are they downloading it often enough? Like, are they maintaining? This seems like a stream of like, whatever is in suppress, we'll make sure it's happening in Deploy, which can make sure you're covering those gaps where maybe something was missed. And now you have a screamer, heaven forbid, who's going off to Spam House or any of these other platforms and causing havoc for your whole program. So that seems like a huge value add in my mind. Is there
exactly? Yeah, that was one of the reasons why early on this seemed like it would make so much sense, because we hear that, from our existing clients, that they would love to scale their email programs, but either some just have concerns, obviously, about compliance, and recognize like, well, if only if it was assured that a mailer would have to be compliant, well, that would be great. But they might be hesitant otherwise. Or those who just, maybe they've been burned in the past, and so they become, a little gun shy on it. So as we talked about deploy with brands early on, that was one of the things their eyes lit up about. They're like, oh, well, okay, now this starts to make us really excited about brand safe email in the affiliate channel, that this starts to deliver on that potential. And again, take that worry off of their plates or their legal team's plates, so that they could just feel that much more confident about the channel.
Yeah, and I've heard anecdotally the email is still one of the most lucrative channels out there, but can be rather risky from a brand protection perspective. So the fact that you guys are stepping into that brand protection while also empowering brands to step into a very lucrative channel seems like a win-win. So
Yes, we think so. And again,
yeah,
based on, that's one where, we've had lots of conversations over the years, and that's just been one of those points that has come through kind of loud and clear, that, yeah, if we could help ensure that brand safe email experience, more brands would want to send more email and work with more partners. So
of
we
course.
really look at this as hopefully a very much win-win, virtuous circle kind of thing for everybody in the space.
Okay. Well, I thank you. I think understanding the problem and what you guys have done is rad, to say the least. I would love to know, like, where are you guys looking forward? Like, how is this shaping up? Like, where do you focus on from here?
Yeah, it's this is going great. We're essentially, when at Affiliate Summit New York here in, boy, month and a half. It's coming really fast. I guess depending on how quick this video comes out, but it's coming up really soon. I guarantee that. That's when we will really truly officially unveil the first sellable version of the product. We've got beta users on it now, and we're letting affiliates who already have a relationship with us start testing it, trialing it out, seeing how it works. But we're not charging anybody for these early trials, and we're slowly adding people just to understand, to make sure that, everything we built so far is working the way it needs to, and identifying gaps of things that we would like to build in the future to make it even better. But again, come Affiliate Summit, we will have that, sign up here button on the website, and you can just sign up for deploy and start using it. So that's a big step right now. We're in the home stretch of making that happen. But beyond that, yeah, we've got a lot of additional things that we're calling sort of Act 2 for Optizmo. I guess deploy would be a big part of Act 2, which is,
Right.
Act 1 has been really the compliant side. And that will always be the foundation of our business. And everything we do going forward will be built on that as just a rock solid base of, doing marketing, doing email the right way. But deploy is a big step going beyond that. And then we've got others that, I won't talk to specifically, because we don't have the specific plans yet, but we are kind of in discovery mode on a couple of other technology platforms, products that would continue in this vein of improving this whole email ecosystem in our mind, and hopefully bringing value to everybody kind of along the way in the chain, to just make it that much more lucrative for both brands and email marketers to work together in this space on sending more and more email out to consumers that they want to receive, that reach the inbox, all the different things. So we continue, as we look at this space, we all see inefficiencies or gaps where we think things could be a little bit better. And we're anxious to see if we can turn our developers loose and build some more cool stuff that would make everybody's lives easier.
That's awesome. And like, outside of ASE, which is coming up in July, like you said, a month and a half, if somebody was interested in like becoming an early adopter or learning more about it, where would they go to get access to this?
Absolutely. Right now, if they hit the website, optizmo.com, we obviously have information on deploy there. You can join a wait list, and you would gain more information from the wait list. Obviously, we're sending out emails and updates, but gosh, we're getting so close to that actual release. What I would say is that if you are a mailer in the space and you already work with Optizmo, then I think it's very likely that you already have an account with our mailer portal called Access. Through that, you can today begin to access deploy. So we're slowly moving those users over into deploy, because essentially deploy will provide all of the capabilities that Access provides mailers today, which is essentially access to suppression files and opt-out links that they need to run campaigns, but all within the new platform. So they essentially get a bit of a sneak peek. They can see the rest of the platform while having a cleaner and more efficient user experience to access all the information that they've always come to Optizmo for. That stuff will remain, free for those, and seamless for mailers forever. But now we just have additional cool products and capabilities for them to take advantage of while they're there as well. So yeah, if people are interested, if you've already got an account, you can get into deploy very quickly. But if anybody has questions or is just curious, they can certainly reach out to me at Tom at Optizmo, or our support team at support at Optizmo, and we're happy to provide any additional information we can.
Awesome. Well, thanks for educating me. I mean, I know this is hopefully going to be a tool for you and a resource for you, but for me personally, it was a helpful way just to get to know your business better, to be a better partner to you guys, and to understand where Optizmo is taking your products, which is rad. Any last thoughts or comments before we call it?
Boy, no, I mean, again, just thank you so much for the opportunity. Garth,
Yeah.
It's always fun. Our conversations are always a blast. It's interesting to be, I think this is the first time I've been on the other side and not interviewing you for one of these videos. So that was
You guys push me with a microphone and
or
on the internet versus inside of a hotel where we might get arrested. But
yeah, I was gonna say security at, say, some unnamed casino might not be happy that apparently we were doing an interview nowhere near the casino floor, mind you. This is all hypothetical. No one's saying this ever happened, but if it ever had, yeah, that would have been strange, and it's far less likely. Nobody's knocked on the door. No guys in sunglasses with earpieces to ask us if we have permission to record here.
yes, if that didn't happen, we may have learned a lesson. But like I said, a lot safer to do it on the internet. But I'm grateful for you guys and your whole team. I'm grateful for the partnership that we've had over the years. And yeah, if you guys want more information about Optizmo, go to optizmo.com. Like Tom said, industry standard when it comes to compliance in the email channel. These guys are great. So my mark of approval.
Thanks.
No worries. All right, man. Talk to you soon.